Greetings and felicitations.
Okay, here comes the first round.
Boom. And
Jeez, that was just
boom.
unnecessary.
You kidding me? You can't be out of range? What? Greetings and felicitations, YouTube. You're all of the Appian Way here with another battle. This time, I have the armored giants to welcome you to Dry Bottom Lake, where I will be playing as Phthia against Suck, playing as Dardania. Dardania and Phthia is a classic matchup. Achilles and Aeneas were in the early stages of this game just nigh undefeatable, and yeah, we're here to bring you this classic OG matchup. I brought a champion of Phthia, 4 renowned Phthian spears, a pair of Aeginian runners, and a pair of spearfighting myrmidons to make out the majority of my infantry corps. For dealing with chariots as well as the mud, I've brought an armored giant spearman and a reinforced chariot, and they'll also be able to pull extra duty and help me fight, mobs, cavalry, things like that. And I brought an archer skirmisher hero, as did my opponent. I have an opportunity here early on to try and catch him out, and unfortunately he's going to stay just one step ahead of my chariots as he smartly dives into the mud. It slows him down, but it slows down my chariots more. He's brought a pair of heavy Trojan chariots. He's got a line of 6 Dardanian rabbles, 3 Dardanian defenders, and 3 renowned Dardanian sworn fighters. Those guys are going to be a huge headache for me in this battle. So, seeing that I was a little bit too close to the mud, I'm going to pull my reinforced chariots back. Reinforced chariots are not a good match to take against heavy Trojan chariots. My opponent did bring 2, and I was expecting him to bring 2, but I'm going to try and do my best to keep my chariots away from engaging with his. He's going to do his best to continue to try and maneuver his chariots to keep my hero in trouble. Here's a bad opportunity for me. The slow turn rate on my chariot almost got me caught out by the heavy Trojan chariots, but I slipped past and I'm able to escape just in time. I actually go ahead and I'm going to start calculatingly planning to move my chariots into the mud. Maybe I can get an opportunity to catch out his chariots. So occasionally you're going to see me put my chariots in the mud, pull them back out again. It's all about maneuvering and positioning. It is a choice to do that, not a mistake. Alright, so I've moved my armored giant spearmen all the way over to the left flank because I did see the centaur champions out there. And I'm going to move them up to the edge of the tree line, right where they can't be seen. I'm going to put them on fire at will, and they're going to dish out some javelins for these centaur champions to think about. Look at that, huge hit right off the bat. That's going to force them to reposition right away. He doesn't want to take too many of those. I've already dealt half of my javelin damage into them. And that's the sign that I am in a lot of trouble. I don't want his archer skirmisher hero to target my infantry. It is bad news bears for me. So the worst case scenario for me is that he starts shooting my infantry. I wanted to try and shoot my chariots. So I start chasing him. Yeah, chasing him into the mud where my chariots are really slow, just to try to dissuade him from doing so. He's going to start moving down here with his own heavy Trojan chariots, where I will move my forces deeper into the mud. I'm going to move on my Aeginian runners, activate their fire at will, and they are going to start hammering heavy Trojan chariots with their javelins. I'm also going to start moving up the renowned Phthian spears to help push them off as well, but now my own reinforced chariots are catching javelins for the Dardanian defenders. Less than ideal scenario for me. I do get another couple of quick hits there. I'm going to go ahead and start moving up with my armored giant spearmen. They've continued to dish out their own javelins at the centaur champions. Removed about, 800 and so, maybe 1,000 hit points off of the centaur champions. And it's at that stage that I'm looking at what's going on the left flank here, and I think, you know what, guys, just attack. Go after the centaur champions. These guys are expensive. My armored spearmen only cost me about 800. All the chariots are over there anyway. He's going to move up with his Dardanian rabble. I'm going to go ahead and engage them and just cut them down. He sees that I'm chasing the centaur champions with my armored giant spearmen, but he's also going to commit his forces on my right flank. So I've got what do I have on my right flank? Well, I've got Aeginian runners, I've got a spearfighting myrmidon, and my spearfighting myrmidon on this flank is a little bit out of position, so it's going to start moving up and start dishing out its ammo. I get my reinforced chariot gets caught by a Dardanian rabble, but it's still just a rabble. My chariots, even though they're in the mud, are going to do just fine against that with the support of an Aeginian runner. My runners and my spearfighting myrmidons are in a position now to help me break the archer skirmisher hero's chariot. If I can do that, and here it is, boom, that's another small victory for me. I have a mobility advantage over his hero now, and I've got plenty of forces that are going to be good for killing that skirmisher hero on foot. So the Centaur champions have outpositioned my Armored Giant Spearmen. Recognizing this, I'm going to go ahead and reposition my spear-fighting Myrmidons to help me deal with that, because my reinforced chariots are still trying to move through the mud pit into a more useful side of the battlefield. Man, those poor chariots. I got 31 kills on them. I don't know that I'm going to get much better out of them. The Centaur champions are a challenge, but if I can attack the champions with my chariots and support them with something else, like Champion of Thigh, Renowned Thigh and Spear, Spear-Fighting Myrmidon, I can deal with the Centaur champions. My hero is going to go ahead and deal as much damage as he can to the Archer Skirmisher hero, even as that Archer Skirmisher hero is going to start killing off Myrmidons, Aeginian runners. I've got my Renowned Thigh and Spears are in a ton of trouble as they get rear attacked by these Renowned Dardanian Sworn Fighters, and they're going to continue that momentum through and attack this Renowned Thigh and Spear as well. I'm going to go ahead and reposition a couple of my Renowned Thigh and Spears and Champions of Thaya over here, bring them into play. My chariots were briefly attacked by the Centaur champions, but then the champions decided to move out of that engagement as my Myrmidons arrived, and that allowed me the chance to deal a little bit extra damage from my reinforced chariots, who are now turned around, trying to engage them. The champions charge through the mud to recharge my Aeginian runner. He's also going to attack the Myrmidons from the other flank with a heavy Trojan chariot. He also plows this heavy Trojan chariot into the mud to attack the Aeginian runners. Really great targeting right there. And he was mostly because he needed to escape my Armored Giant Spearmen, who have crossed the battlefield and started targeting the heavy Trojan chariots. Well, he didn't want to just sit there and get obliterated by Armored Giant Spearmen. This is what they do best. They kill large targets like chariots and cavalry really efficiently. But now they're caught between a Champion of Thaya and the Armored Giant Spearmen, and you can see, even though they're doing their best to chase off, poke off the forces that are chasing them, they cannot escape. They cannot escape the Armored Giant Spearmen and the Champions of Thaya and all this mud. So you're going to start hearing sound effects of chariots breaking, giants start battering them to pieces. Dardanian rabble have gotten back involved again. The Centaur champions have come back around and are trying to engage my reinforced chariots. They get a rear attack on them, even as I'm trying to use them to attack what's left of the rabble, even though it's, again, in the mud. I activate Aristea so I can get a little bit more duration out of one of his abilities, because I'm using it to target his hero. I'm hoping I can kill his hero, and that might be enough to help me turn the tide against, the Centaur champions, as well as the Dardanian defenders, and especially the Renowned Dardanian Sworn Fighters. This Myrmidon is now engaged fully with this heavy Trojan chariot. The Trojan chariots are actually winning because the Myrmidons are getting beat up. They're also winning. Aeginian runners have regrouped. They're coming back in here, throwing javelins at Renowned Dardanian Sworn Fighters. All of these rabble shatter around the Centaur champions. Centaur champions are going to do just fine. Armored Giant Spearmen has an opportunity to come out here and engage the Centaur champions. I'm also chasing with the spear-fighting Myrmidons. Anything I can use to kill all of the heavy units is a huge boost. So a couple of more of the Centaur champions die there, and then they break. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my forces around. These Renowned Dardanian Sworn Fighters are getting close to 100 kills apiece. The heavy Trojan chariots are still in play here. I'm relentlessly pursuing them with my spear-fighting Myrmidons, and his hero is now routing with 302 hit points left. There's a Dardanian defender in my way. I do a very reckless attack here. There's a Renowned Dardanian Sworn Fighter and a Dardanian rabble coming after me. He didn't notice that he had his Dardanian defender back. I desperately am trying to kill this hero. I get to within point blank of these Dardanian defenders, and boom, snipe out that archer hero just in time, and I got right past his defenders. They're going to turn around and get engaged now, but the morale is going to really affect his forces. My spearmen, armored spearmen, have continued to chase the Centaur champions. They caught up to them because his micro was focused elsewhere. Maybe his screen wasn't pointing in this direction. He didn't see that they had regrouped, and the armored giant spearmen are going to cut down these horsemen. Look at this. I've never gotten so much value out of armored giant spearmen before, but I picked them thinking, they have one job, maybe two jobs to do, and that is going to be chariots and cavalry. And I put them to that task, and they performed. They performed so very well. That shatters the Centaur champions, and that really means there's not much left for the Dardanian defenders to do. This Renowned Sworn Fighter, 65 kills before my Myrmidons finally dealt with it. Dardanian Defender, 81 kills. This Sworn Fighter with 88 kills. As I'm going to go ahead and chase them off before turning around and deal with the Dardanian Defenders. But that's it. No need. That's army losses. Wow. That was a good fight. That was a really good fight. And yeah, just look at these kills. 132 kills for the Spearfighting Myrmidon, 95, 98, 159, 159, 155 for my Renowned Thyan Spears. And I got a ton of value out of my Champions of Thaya. Still only an 880 fund heavy infantry unit with Unbreakable, 172 kills. 42 kills of my Armored Giant Spearmen. I think they only took maybe 2 casualties. But those 42 kills you have to keep in mind were against Centaur Champions and Chariots. Really good showing from them. His Chariots only managed about 76, 77 kills. And that has a lot to do with my positioning, choosing to fight in that mud, staying in that mud, even opting to put my own chariots in the mud more than a few times in the interest of goading him to go there too. Really good game from my opponent. We both had a lot of fun with that. We were both reflecting on that battle afterwards. So anyway, that's it for today's video. Ta-ta, I love you all, and I'll see you guys in the next one.